Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria and we're vlogging today. So I haven't done a vlog in a while and I felt like it. So I don't really have anything planned. I am just gonna go with what I'm feeling, but I felt like vlogging. So what I'm currently reading is Drawing the Doctor by Romeo Alexander. I'm a little more than halfway through it, so I should be finishing that the next time that I sit down to read it. Drawing the Doctor is about a artist and a doctor, and it's male, and the reason that I picked this book up is because I was recommended it by somebody when they were talking about books that had characters with dick piercings in it, and they were talking about this book and they were saying how in a scene in this book the main character gets his tongue piercing stuck on a hookup's dick piercing, and they have to go to the hospital, and then the romance is between the doctor that they see in the hospital and the guy with the tongue piercing. And I was just like, wow, that sounds like a ridiculous scenario, and I needed to see what it was about, how it went. So that's the one we're currently reading, and I'm actually really liking it. The character with the tongue piercings name is Theo and the doctor's name is Grant, and there is a bit of an age gap. Grant is older. I think Theo's in his 20s, and he is from a really wealthy family, but he doesn't associate with his family at all. They didn't appreciate him being an artist. They didn't like his individuality, and he became an artist, and his family was just like not about that. So he doesn't associate with any of his family. And then Grant is a very clean-cut, put-together doctor. He hasn't had a date in like a year. He very much prioritizes work over everything else, and he really loves his job, and he doesn't really have much of a social life at all. He doesn't socialize with like really anyone at all other than like coworkers at work who he's like friendly with, but they're not really like friends. And their worlds collide, and they are very much opposites attract, but it's been really cute so far and I'm actually really liking it. Then I don't know what I want to pick up. I am thinking maybe a audiobook, because I haven't listened to an audiobook in a while. Or also I just recently, I think my video that's going up before this one is my KU TBR. If you haven't seen it, I will link it up here. But I had a Jessica Kane book on my KU TBR that's like calling to me, so maybe that one we can do also in this vlog. I think that one is called King Sized. I think it's called King Sized. I've never read a Jessica Kane book. If I have, I've only read one and I don't remember what it was, but I know that they're like short, steamy, spicy novellas and people really like them. So maybe that one. So we'll see how we're feeling after this one ends, but I definitely want to read an audiobook in the vlog. I am not working today. It is currently Thursday the 16th, so I'm not working today, and I don't think I'm working tomorrow either, so I have plenty of time to read and vlog, and we're gonna have fun. So I will update you again when I pick up and finish Drawing the Doctor.
Hi. So I haven't read anything. Instead, I am sitting in my bed watching BookTube and eating a snack. But I am watching Izzy from Happy for Now, who I love, by the way. And she's starting her mid-month wrap-up. Everyone's mid-month wrap-ups came out today. And she is doing her mid-month wrap-up. And in the beginning of her video, she's talking about how she's like, I'm in a bit of a reading slump. Don't come for me, because when I tell you the amount of books I've read, you'll be like, no, you're not in a reading slump. And I totally feel that, because she's like, oh, I've read 5 books this month. And for a lot of people, 5 is a lot of books to read in 1 month in total. But for someone like Izzy or like me or like any like booktubers, usually we read so much more. So I was talking to one of my friends and she was like, I feel so good about this month. I've read so many books this month. And I was like, oh, that's great. How many books have you read? And she's like, 2. And I was like, that's great. Like, congratulations. I'm so glad that that's a lot of books for you. And I'm glad that she like felt so proud of herself for reading 2 books in a month. And she's like, I usually only read like 1 book a month, and I've already read 2 this month. And I was like, I didn't know how to react and be like, oh, I've read 15, because I don't want to like discount the way that she feels, because I'm so proud of her for reading, because she was never a big reader, and I'm so proud of her for reading. But I also don't want to be like, again, like not be able to respond and talk to her about books and have her feel bad because I've read more. Like, I don't think it should be a competition, but I don't know how to have that conversation. So let me know what you think, and how I should respond when my friend says, I've read so many books, and I say, me too, and she'll tell me how many, and I don't want to respond back with how many I've read. Because it just makes me uncomfortable. But it shouldn't, because we're different people, so we read at different speeds, and she prioritizes other things, and I prioritize reading. So I don't know, but I really feel this when I'm watching Izzy's video, and she's like, I'm in a reading slump. I read 5 books, and some people only read 5 books in an entire year. So let me know what you think.
Hello. It's much later. I haven't finished a book yet. But I did continue reading Drawing the Doctor one. I was not as far as I thought into it, but I was just longer than I thought it was. So it's about 200 pages, and I was about 100 pages in, and now I'm about 140-ish pages in. So I am exhausted. So I don't want to actually like physically read right now. So I want to start an audiobook. And I really want to read The Lie by Carla Sorensen. It came out last week, a couple of days ago. So it came out at some point recently, and I really want to read it. And I looked on Hoopla, and I looked on the library, and I looked on Anyplay, and it's not on anything. So I think I'm gonna have to buy it, which I was trying to avoid. But I tried to start an audiobook, and it just didn't go well, because even though it was like one that I wanted to read, because I really want to read The Lie. So I don't think I'm going to be able to focus on a different audiobook until I read that one, because that's just what my brain wants now. So I'm going to buy it. So we're going to go to Audible, and I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to start that one. I'm very excited. I have listened to the first chapter of The Lie, and I know a little bit more about what it's about, so I thought I would let y'all know. So this book is about Dominic, which is super weird to me because my brother's name is Dominic, and I don't particularly enjoy reading books with main characters who have the same names as my brothers or my dad. But at least we call my brother DJ, so like that's better. I don't refer to my brother as Dominic, but it's still weird every time I hear them say the name Dominic. Anyway, tangent. This book is about Dominic, who is a football player who has just recently been transferred to the Washington Wolves. and Dominic does not have a good reputation. He is known very much as like a bad boy. He's like a nickname, Wild Walker is I think what they called him. So people going into his, him joining this new team, they already are like judging him and just assuming that he's like a shitty person based on his reputation. And you can already tell that he has a rough past. He has secrets hidden about his life that he just like doesn't share with anyone. And so I totally get his bad boy persona, but like secret heart of gold type thing. And I think that he has just basically put all of his effort into being a football player. He comes from like nothing. He was a walk-on. He wasn't even drafted. Like he was not, he's not like he's worked really hard for every single thing that he has. And it's very different than a lot of the other people who were like drafted. They were big superstars. They absolutely knew where they were coming from. They came from rich backgrounds, all that stuff. Also, in the first chapter, it is mentioned that he had a sister who passed away when she was young, and that seems to have really, really affected him. She, I think, died 5 years ago. She was a lot younger than him. I think he was like 10 years old when she was born. So that seems to have really affected him. They were very close, and he like kind of talks to her in his head, or like thinks about like what she would think about things that he does and decisions that he makes, which is like heart-wrenching. And then we already have seen Allie, who is the owner of the Washington Wolves from Bombshell Effect. She's the heroine in Bombshell Effect. And she very much, again, judges him on his past and his reputation. She just assumes that he is kind of a mess. And he gets himself into a sticky situation that he should not have gotten in, and he knew better, but he still got into the situation, and she catches him in the situation, and she's like calling him out for it, and he's like, this is the anniversary of a time of something happened to me on this day years ago, and it still affects me, and that's why today. And she's like, don't bring this into my team, don't bring this into my stadium, kind of thing. And I feel bad for him because of his sister and like everything, but also he knew better and he shouldn't have been making those decisions. We also have gotten into an introduction to Faith, who is the love interest or heroine in this book, and she was the daughter. She's Allie's stepdaughter, and she and Dominic are going to be working closely together because the sticky situation that he got himself in, that he gets punished for or yelled at for by Allie, she says as like a punishment, he has to work for her and her husband's foundation, which her daughter is the manager of. So they are going to be working closely together. But it was a very good first opening chapter. I feel like I already know like a lot about the story and like what's going to happen. The chapters are pretty long too, so it doesn't seem like there are going to be a lot of chapters in the book. It's more like the long chapters. And I think it's a dual perspective, so I think we're also going to get Allie or Faith's point of view. So I think it's going to be cute, and I am already liking it. So we'll keep going and see how it goes. Okay, so I am not quite halfway through, but almost halfway through, and I'm actually really liking it. Dominic is a great hero. I'm really liking his like bad boy but not vibe. He is definitely like somebody who tries really hard but has a very short temper. And so he's like, when somebody pushes his buttons, sometimes he can't hold back his temper and he'll like lash out. And it's given him this like bad boy reputation. But being in his head, I feel like I like can relate. Because he's trying so hard to be like, okay, just go with the angel on your shoulder, go with the angel on your shoulder. And then there's been a couple of times where he's just like needed to snap because people are pushing his buttons. They're going in there and going in, like getting in his space. And he's a very like dominant personality that he snaps. And then I also really like Faith. She is very controlled. She needs to have control over things, and she likes to put things in boxes, and Dominic doesn't fit into the boxes that she has in her mind for like what type of people are. And it's really frustrating her because she was like, oh, got him pegged. It was like first meeting, she was like, okay, I got him pegged, that was what box he goes in, perfect. And then the next time she sees him, he completely like throws out that idea that she had. And she's like, crap, he doesn't fit into that box. Okay, maybe he's in this one. And he's just like not fitting in her boxes. And she needs to have that control, and she needs to have that like organization in her mind. And he just doesn't fit in. And it's like frustrating her, but also intriguing her. And she's like, I need to know more. I need to know his background. And it's like it's like that vibe that you get when you're like trying to like stare at somebody so hard because you really want to know what they're thinking, and you just can't know what they're thinking without asking them, but you don't want to pry. And so she's getting really frustrated, and I really like her. We also got a cameo from Molly Ward from the first book in the Ward Sisters series, which was very cute. She's about 10 years older than Faith, but she's going through a similar thing. Faith has this rule about not dating football players, especially not football players like from the Washington Wolves. She grew up with the team. Her mom's the owner. Her dad was a player. She works for a foundation that's associated with the team, and so she just like doesn't want to be with somebody on the team. And Dominic is on the team, and they're going on a date, their first date, and Dominic kind of like didn't really ask her, but kind of just like told her that he was taking her out. And it's a very different, she like says yes, but like he doesn't really like give her the opportunity to think about it too much, because if she thought about it too much, she would just like leave and say no and everything. And he pushes her, but not like not too much. And it's like just enough of pushing her buttons, and I like it. But Molly, with what she was talking about with Molly, was Molly also, her whole life was surrounded by the Washington Wolves, and yet she married a Washington Wolves player, and they've been married for so long. And so Faith is trying to like get some advice from Molly, because she's like, oh, if anyone knows what I'm thinking or knows what I'm going through, it's going to be Molly. And I really like what she's talking about. And I think there are so many romance heroines who just like need to like sit in a room and have this discussion given to them, because Molly is talking about how there's good ones and bad ones in general. Like there's good guys and bad guys, and it's not like you can't put them into boxes. And like I said before, Faith really likes to put people in boxes. So she had one bad experience dating a football player, and she's like, okay, I can't date football players, they're all like that. And Molly is like, you can date a doctor and he can still end up being bad. You can date a electrician and they can still end up being bad. It's not the job, it's a person, and they were not the right person for you, and you can't like cast off all athletes, all football players, because you had one bad experience dating one. And I think there's so many heroines that need to have that discussion and need to have that speech said to them, because it's a trope that I can't really stand in books a lot, where she's like, oh, I dated this. It's usually athletes too, and it's like, oh, all athletes are horrible because they had one bad experience with athletes. And it's just like, I feel bad. And it just irritates me because it's like an overused thing, and not all athletes are the same, and not all people are the same. Not all men are the same. You're gonna have different experiences with different people. And I liked how quickly she kind of got over it and was like, what Molly was saying made sense, and I'm gonna give him a chance. So they're about to go on their first date, and I'm excited. And this will probably be my last update for tonight because it is hella late. So I will talk to you tomorrow. I'm probably gonna keep listening right now. But I don't think I'll be able to finish this tonight. But if I do, I'll give you thoughts about the rest of it tomorrow. I'm also going to a library book sale, used book sale tomorrow, and I'm very, very excited because they're very rare in my town. So, hello friends, good afternoon. It's like 2 o'clock the next day. I am in my kitchen. And I want to update you about what's gone on since I last talked to you. So I went to that book fair that I was talking about this morning. I was a little disappointed. They had a very, very minuscule romance section and it was very unorganized, but I did find a couple of historical romances that I picked up. I will have a book haul coming at the end of the month because I've bought a shit ton of books in the last 4 months. I finished Drawing the Doctor by Romeo Alexander, and I don't know how I feel about this one because I think I liked it. Dealt with very dark themes, and for a lot of the middle, I didn't feel like the characters were very like fleshed out, or very like they felt very like one-dimensional. Is that right? Like they didn't like feel like real people. I also, for a little bit of the middle, didn't really believe the emotional connection there. Like I got the like lust that they were feeling and that they had like a sexual attraction to each other, but it didn't really feel like they knew each other. So I was like, what sort of connection emotionally, romantically do you have? Why do you want to be together other than the sex? The way that the author described the sex in this book was also really strange because they would like skip over the actual like penetrative sex parts, but they would do explicit like blowjobs on page, which was very weird. So like you never got an actual like penetrative sex scene. But they said that they happened, which was a little bit strange, and I've never had one that did that before, a book that did that before. But with the actual characters, towards the end and like when it was wrapping up, you got the more backstory and more explanation of why the characters were acting the way they were, which I really appreciated, and it made it make sense why they were acting for the middle. But for a lot of the middle, I was a little confused. Like, why can't you be together? Why do you want to be together? So it wasn't bad, but I don't know if I missed something that they had talked about and I just skipped past it, like missed over it. But it didn't feel very I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I didn't feel connected to the characters at all. And I didn't really understand the characters and what they were doing. So, but the ending, I really liked the ending, the last like 30-ish pages of the book. I will say there is like a sort of trigger warning for suicidal thoughts. It's not like as blatant like on the page, but it's like the subtext of it is very like suicidal thoughts. So just be aware of that going in. It also deals with parents throwing out their LGBTQ children. So that is another thing that if that's something that you don't want to read about, I wouldn't go into this one. But overall, I don't know what I'm going to rate it. I will let you know like at the end of the vlog once I think about everything. But those were my thoughts. So now I am going to continue listening to The Lie by Carla Sorensen. I'm really liking this. I am just about halfway through and I am really into this one. I am not editing or reading like I should be. Instead, I'm watching Crystal. So, whoops, distracted. But she's doing the romance hot takes, like unpopular opinions video. And she's doing such a good job. And I just love how much thought that she puts into it and how much of a discussion she creates about it. But it's not just like, oh, I don't like that one, or I agree with that one. It's let's actually have a discussion and break down like why somebody might like this one and why someone might not like this one, which I think is really great. Anyway, I did listen to a little bit more in The Lie, and I'm really liking it. I really like Dominic. And I also really like Faith. I love how honest she is. Like she's like thinks something about it and then she tells him. Like there's no holding back, and like they have great communication, except for I really hope that this isn't the way that the conflict goes in this book. If it's gonna go the way that I think it's gonna go, I'm not gonna like it. So I hope it doesn't go that like, cause it's like a predictable way. But if it goes a different way, then I'll be really excited. So basically, Faith and Dominic have been talking to each other for years over text, but they have no idea who they've been talking to. Like screen names. And so they don't know who each other are. And Dominic knows, he realized that the girl he's been talking to all these years is Faith. And he hasn't told her yet. And I really, really, really hope that the conflict doesn't come because he didn't tell her. But they're so cute together so far, and I really like how much Faith is like standing up for Dominic when other people are like talking bad about him, because she's really gotten to know him as a person, and like I was saying last night, like he doesn't fit into her boxes, and she's finding that like he is super sweet and that he this persona that he has is not anything like how he is in real life. And so she can't stand when people are judging him based on the persona. So like she's talking to her dad, and her dad's like really Dominic Walker, like you couldn't have picked one of the nice guys on the team, and she like immediately goes to Dominic's defense, which I really, really like. I will keep listening and I will let you know how it goes. Okay, so I just finished The Lie by Carla Sorensen, and I really enjoyed it. There were definitely one or two like nitpicky things that I wouldn't have gone with, but I did really overall like it. But there is a loss of a loved one that is a very prominent role in this book. Him dealing with the loss of his little sister who died from cancer. And one thing I will say is that like on Amazon it says like a bad boy sports romance. I would not categorize him as a bad boy at all, because the minute he's trying to like talk to people, he doesn't have that bad boy persona. So like yes, he has a little bit of a short temper, but I have a short temper, and I'm definitely not like what you would call like a bad boy. So I know a lot of people that have short temper, and I would not call them bad boys. So I don't know. That was something that he's very, very sweet, especially around Allie. Like, he gets off on the wrong foot, but he judges her outward persona the same way she judges his outward persona. And the minute that they spend any other time together, he's like, okay, I was wrong. She's not like that. And he's treats her differently, or like acts nicer, I guess, or like more like himself to her. There is this whole like situation going on, like I said in the previous clip, where they had been like talking over text for years, not knowing that that's who they were talking to. And it did a little bit play out the way that I thought it was going to play out, which I was not a fan of. I wouldn't have caused that conflict. I would have tried to come up with another conflict. But I did like how Faith resolved it. Like, she needed him to change, and so the conflict came to be about more than just him not telling her. Like, that was the like inciting incident that started the conflict, but that made her realize, like, okay, these are the things that make us not be able to be together. That basically, like, you need to get your shit together before, like, she really stood up for what she deserved, and she was like, I love you, I care about you deeply, but I deserve better than you and your attitude right now, and you need to deal with your own emotions before we can be together, because I shouldn't have to be subject to your bad attitude and your like temper problems. I did really appreciate the ending, but overall I really liked this book, and I would totally recommend reading it. So this vlog is probably ridiculously long because I talk a lot, so maybe we'll do one more short novella. So we're gonna make this like a 48-hour reading vlog instead, and I think I'm going to read a Jessica Cain book because I've never read a Jessica Cain book. So here we go. The Jessica Cain book that I have checked out on KU right now is King Sized, and it is a plus-sized hero, and he's a bodyguard, and he has to protect a princess. And I'm pretty sure he's like a soft hero, like a cinnamon roll type hero, which I'm like hyped for. So it's only like 80 pages. I'm gonna read it right now, and I will update you with our final vlog clip when I'm done with it. Hey guys, so it's actually nighttime on Saturday now, but I realized I never finished this vlog. So we are here to close it out and to tell you all about King Sized by Jessica Cain. So I gave this freaking book 5 stars. I loved it. It was so good, so just the perfect mix of sex and romance and love and connection and plot thrown in with, because it was a novella, so like I wasn't expecting like too much from it. It was like 80 pages and I was not expecting so much from it, but I loved it. I also absolutely adored our hero Rex, who is a plus-sized hero, and he is the bodyguard for the princess, and he is super insecure. Like, he does not think he's attractive. He's really big and he is overweight, and he doesn't think that he has like a nice looking face. But the princess Britta just like really loves him and connects with him, and it's so cute. Rex also has 5 sisters, and so he like really is like in tune with like knowing what to do for helping a woman like with her emotions, because like when they first actually interact with each other, Britta is so sad and crying because her parents had been killed, and she is so upset and crying, and all of her guards are standing outside of her door and none of them are doing anything, and Rex is like, I have to do something to like help her, and all of them are like, I don't know what to do with a crying girl, and he's like, I got this. And he goes in and he comforts her in like the sweetest way, and I absolutely loved it. So I'm 100% gonna have to continue reading Jessica Kane because I was not expecting to love this. This is literally like the first really short novella that I've given 5 stars. I don't think I've ever given a novella under 100 pages 5 stars. So score 1 for Jessica Kane. But that is it. We're finishing this vlog on a high note. I feel pretty good. So thanks so much for watching. Sorry I talked so much, and I hope that this is not too long. But yeah, let me know if you enjoy vlogs down in the comments. That's it. So give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe, stick around. Love to have you here. But that's all, so hope you have a great day.